abortion kills a human person. Y'all know where you're going to go?
Yeah.
Ready to move in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, very good. You got to pick, oh, there you go. Max is on strongly agree and 2 on disagree. Very good. We're not all in the same spot. All right, I'll start on this side. Abortion, you disagree that abortion kills a human person. Why do you disagree?
Because I just think in the earlier stages, it's a clump of cells and not actually a human being.
Okay.
Like once you get to a certain, that's why I'm not like strongly disagree.
Okay.
Because I feel like once you get to a certain amount of weeks and stuff, then it's like a human baby. It's got a heartbeat and stuff, and there's other options. But in the earlier stages, the first few weeks or whatever, it's your choice.
Okay.
So
is there a particular moment there that in your mind that it turns into a human? At what point you had mentioned? Did you mention heart beating?
Mm-hmm.
What? Why those things? Any reasons why those are your reasons? Something changes.
because that's like between a clump of cells and like a heartbeat, the two major differences. Let me collect myself.
That's right.
Because like once you have a heartbeat and stuff, you're a person. You are a human being.
Okay.
And for someone to take that away from you is.
So heartbeat for you is kind of maybe the main thing, at least that comes to the top of your mind that is the mark of being a human. Okay? All right, we'll come back. Remind me of your name again.
Kaya.
Kaya, okay. And what's your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin, sorry, Caitlin. Why do you disagree, Caitlin?
I feel like autonomy is very important.
Okay.
Though I do also believe that at a certain point that it's pretty late in when they're developing to kill them and they're like a living thing. They're basically a child or a baby at that point in the womb. So I feel like there should definitely be a cutoff for like when you could do it, but I feel like they don't have autonomy, like bodily autonomy, and they can't make decisions over their body. So if there's someone like in a coma, right, and they don't have any wishes like written down that they want to do, like want done with their body, that whoever is technically like in charge of them, whoever they decide to be in charge of them, can just pull the plug at any time without that person's permission, because they do not have bodily autonomy. But it's not considered murder when you do that.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Why do you strongly disagree or strongly agree, Max, that abortion kills a human person?
Well, first, I am based in a Christian belief, but I'm also, I love facts. I love science, even though I hate chemistry. That's a given. But I love facts. And I would say, purely on like science-based, everything that lives needs some type of nutrients, and that's protein, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, and they need all these things to live. Even like a small clump of cells, they needed something to start living. Even animals need food to live, because then they would just be dead. If without animals we wouldn't live, and then. Where am I?
Abortion kills a human person. You're strongly agreeing. They need nutrients to live.
Yep, nutrients to live. But then, in the Christian belief, sexual intercourse is a sacred thing, and when you have that egg, which needed nutrients to actually be created, and a sperm, and they go into each other, it creates something that's unique and has DNA and has all these different things that might seem small at first, but it becomes and builds up into a form of an actual human. Even outside of the womb, we still need nutrients. We still need all these things to help us live, survive, and stuff like that. So, what's the difference between killing someone out of the womb and then someone in the womb?
Okay, any thoughts to that, ladies? Thank you, Max. Okay, go ahead.
So nutrients, yeah, I get that, but so are plants. But if I pick a plant, like a leaf off of this tree, that is not murdering the leaf. You know what I mean? There's a difference between murdering and something that just gets nutrients dying. And if in the Christian belief you believe it like at conception, the thing is considered a child or a human being. Do you believe in contraceptives as well? Because with contraceptives, it actually does conceive, but it just doesn't implant into the wall. So therefore, by using any contraceptives, like other than a condom, obviously, but like any woman contraceptives, like the implant or a pill, it just doesn't implant. So you're killing the child by someone using contraceptives as well, then, in your mind.
Would you agree with that? Would you be ending the life of a human person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he agrees with that.
Okay, so you don't believe that girls should have like the implant or anything like that, or okay. But
Well, and I think because, right, if correct me if I'm wrong, because he believes, Amy mentioned the unique DNA set at the beginning, that a moment of conception, as soon as the cells are reproducing, you have a unique set of DNA for that human person that won't change for their whole life in any substantial way. So there's a biological basis in Max's mind, yes, Max, at least in part, that there's a human there, which is why he would agree that having certain kinds of birth control could in fact be abortifacient. Whereas for you girls, and you can add to this, change this, but you have some kind of different standard. You had mentioned the heartbeat. So why not use, so I'll just do this, I'll put these together. Why not use the human being as your basis rather than, I don't remember what your basis, your distinction was, but right in the heartbeat. Well, we can just use that for example. But what's the difference for you? Why would you want to use a heartbeat versus whether it's human or not?
Can you ask it one more time?
Well, just to use Max's example, I think upon conception and reproduction, you have, like an acorn is an early oak tree, you have an early human being. No one would deny that that acorn is, in fact, going to be an oak tree if all things go well. So for you, you had mentioned one of your things is a heartbeat. Why the heartbeat as your standard that would say you're now killing it? And before that heart is beating, you're not killing it. What's the reason for choosing the heartbeat rather than just Max's standard?
Because I feel like once you have a heartbeat, like that is considered an actual human being. And like before that process, like I just...
What is it before that heartbeat then?
Like just clump of cells just chilling, I guess. I don't know exactly. But I think it all just comes back to like choice too. And like, what do you think about if someone was like raped or incest, or if there was like a high risk pregnancy or something like along that term? So they still go through it, then like they shouldn't be allowed to get an abortion?
You want to answer that, Max? We can come back to it.
Well, so if you're raped, and like let's say you're 12 and you're raped by your teacher or something like that, and you aren't in the financial area of raising that child and giving it the best life as it could, I think you should put it up for adoption, so that person has a chance to become successful with a very good parent or somebody that would like keep care for it and stuff like that. But yeah, there's like so many other options. Like yes, you can give it birth to it, but you can like give them to somebody else, and it wouldn't be killing.
Well, and that your last point there, I think, is valid. That I mean, it seems like in either case, that in Max's mind, you're still killing, right? So if in fact you're killing a human being, we're not talking about, there's various other instances, but even in a case of rape, there's still an ending of a human's life happening. And so you might say, would you, Max, perhaps in that instance, two wrongs don't make a right. That actually, as horrible as that as a thing of that might be, rape, that the ending of the unborn human's life is still wrong. And the standard, even to come back to the question more specifically, abortion kills a human being. You guys disagree, but so Kaya. So you think prior to the heart beating as a clump of cells, what do you say to the fact that, let's say, it has a unique set of DNA? Would that persuade you to want to move if in fact that's true, which it is true? It's a unique set of human DNA. It's another human inside that mother's body. If you were to take those blood samples they'd be different, right? One would have some of the father, in other words. So what do you think of that? Does that tend to, did that or does that in the moment tend to push against your heartbeat standard, or what?
Honestly, not really, because
No.
I'm still just not viewing it as a human being.
Okay.
So I don't think I would sway my opinion at all.
Would there be anything for either of you that you would think could persuade you one way or the other as you think about this?
Personally, I don't believe so, but like
No.
everyone's entitled to their own opinion, you know, but I just believe that I don't believe that it's a person, but like she said, it's a clump of cells, but like as it grows, like an acorn, right, as you had said earlier, starts off as just an acorn and it grows into an acorn, like an oak tree. I mean, and guess in theory, if you look at it, it's always been the oak tree, like
Always
it has
been an oak tree.
always had the genetics of becoming like an oak tree.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an oak tree.
Sure. At least not yet.
Not yet.
You would at least say the potential and
But
all the
at some
design.
point, yeah, but it has the potential, and at some point, it does become one.
Uh-huh.
Even if it's a small one, at some point along the line, it does become one. And
Yeah.
at what point would you believe that would be?
What I believe?
Yeah.
For the oak tree, you mean specifically?
I mean, like, for it to be considered otherwise, even though technically it's the same thing the whole time. Like, its genetics don't just change, or like what its DNA doesn't just change while it's growing. It's the same DNA.
Yeah, well, that's how I, and it seems like the same thing Max is saying, but that's, I think, where I would end up saying is the end of the thing is always the same. It's simply a question of the development, the stage at what it's at. And so it might be hard to call an acorn an oak tree,
Even
but
though it has the same genetics and it has
Yeah.
the same makeup, and at some point, once it lands in the ground, it will become an oak tree as long as it gets the proper nutrients as a child would need to grow.
right.
But if it doesn't get that proper nutrients, then it's not going to grow, obviously. But at some point, it will become an oak tree in the end, even though it starts off as just an acorn. It's the same thing the whole time, but it starts off called something different.
Well, see, and that it would be, which that's ironic maybe, because that I think is exactly what I would say, is that we simply call it a different name. So let's say we simply use the word fetus. Fetus is simply a Latin word that means a stage of development. It's a fetal stage of a developing human being. In the same way, an acorn is a oak tree in development of becoming an oak tree. And so maybe come back to your point kind of slightly is maybe, and just consider this perhaps. What if, do you find it persuasive at all? I think it's still Max's point as well, but does it potentially make a heartbeat, for instance, or maybe make the first leaf, of the oak tree, potentially arbitrary compared to the standard of it simply being a human being? So if we simply ask the question, it's a human being, it's at a certain stage of development, the earliest stage is 2 cells, or 1 cell maybe technically, right? And then it starts multiplying. 2 months later, it's a very different thing. At what stage do we say, okay, now it's killing and now it's not? Does it make it sound arbitrary? And maybe if not, that's fine. But does it potentially make it sound arbitrary to say, well, now it's killing and now it's not? Or if I can ask a different question, if I were to say, let's say, would you be in a different place if I said abortion after the heartbeat, abortion after a few weeks is killing a human person? Would you be in a different spot? At least Kaya.
Yeah,
Hypothetically
I
speaking.
think then I still wouldn't be in the agree part, but
No?
might be slow. Yeah, because
But isn't a heartbeat the beat now a person for you?
shoot.
Shoot. It's all right. I just want to apply the
Yeah.
standard you're using and ask you to
That's
think about
fair.
it.
That's
Yeah.
fair. It all depends on like what stage they are in, like the development and stuff. And I
Okay.
guess with the heartbeat does kind of change my mind, because I just
Okay.
think it is too late at that point
Yeah.
to go through with an abortion. But I still I 100% believe in like your choice, like your body, your choice. So pro-choice.
So if it's killing, though, so let's just begin that just for a moment. If it is killing after the heart's beating, she has the choice to kill?
Yeah, but I think that that should be her last option
Okay.
of the mothers to go through. Like she could look at adoption and like some other things, and before she would consider getting an abortion, because she went that far in the pregnancy, and
Okay.
now that the baby has a heartbeat and stuff, that
Okay.
maybe she considers other options before considering abortion.
Okay. But in that option, that choice is for you is still actually killing of a human person. Is that choice would be? I mean, it's a different question, but you would be okay with her being able to choose to kill.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I mean, I guess it's also like if it becomes detrimental to her health as well. Yeah, maybe at a certain point it would be considered like murder. But are you gonna charge someone with murder, as they're planning to do with people who have abortions performed, for something that it like detrimentally affects their health? Like it could result in the mother dying. Yeah. So would you? So in that situation, what would you still consider it murder? I guess then, just like a woman just trying to live, would you put that baby over that woman's life?
I feel like people choose unborn babies on top of the mother's health. Like people care way more about an unborn child than like the living, breathing human being they already have here. That they're willing to put her life in danger to have the child.
Okay. Max, do you have any thoughts on any of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's been a while. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So I'm gonna quickly say something. I heard this a couple weeks back, but I don't know when it was. But there was a guy that murdered a woman, and she was pregnant with her child, and she hasn't reached the first trimester. So that's like when you get the heartbeat and stuff like that. And the judge ruled that was two murders just by killing the woman that had the unborn baby.
Double homicide.
Yep. But then also you said people would take they would care more about the baby's life when she went into labor and she had a chance of actually dying. See, that's kind of strange, because the hospital's priority is like keep the mother alive while they're trying to keep like give birth to the baby. And yes, unfortunately, some mothers do die, but it happens. And yes, and sometimes the baby does come out alive and the mother does die, but stuff happens. You can't control everything, and that's just sometimes a risk that mothers that want like children have to take. And even back in the day, like that was a common occurrence. Like a mother after having 9 kids would die giving birth to the 10th, but the child would come out alive.
Well, obviously, there's a principle there for you, Max, that the protection of life is significant, no matter the stage, and the sacrifice of a mother for the good of her child. So that's, and then of course, I suppose it just rubs up against where you ladies are at regarding the question of when it's human, or when it's, you might say, worthy of protection, whether that's legally or just morally. Is there anything that would, I already asked you if there's anything that's persuade you. I could just ask this. Is there final closing thoughts for you that you haven't shared that would be helpful to, or that's something that has at least challenged you a little bit, either way, on either direction, to towards a different spot, or just challenge you in general?
I feel like he's had some good points that he's made, and like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like, I'm not upset that he has his opinion, and he shouldn't be upset that I have mine, you know. I feel like he has definitely made some valid points, but I personally just don't agree with them. And yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say about it. But I've pretty much said all I had to say about believing whether it is murder or killing so far. But yeah. Anyway.
Okay. All right. We'll wrap up here in just a second.
Yeah, I think there were very solid points on both sides of things, but still I did not change my mind. And I feel like a big part of, like, because where we're from in South Dakota, we're very like pro-life state and stuff.
It's illegal now.
It's illegal.
Yep.
And I just feel like lots of people have that mindset now because of where we are. Like, I'm from West Coast. I haven't lived here all my life, and people are just, it's very different over there with opinions and everything, and just, yeah, I wouldn't change my mind about it.
All right. Max, anything, final thoughts? Don't have to have any, that's fine. You shared. Well, I would say, so opinions are one thing, and that's fine. However, I would stress, I think it's good to consider, I mean, this is partly what we're doing, the reasons why, and then, of course, being open to being persuaded, in fact, towards what's true. And I would say on the topic, respecting an opinion is fine. I would stress, however, that it does, if you feel very strongly, let's say, about a law, as some might put it, restricting a woman's right, Max's opinion would be restricting a woman's right in pretty substantial ways. And if you feel very strongly that that's a wrong thing, you know, you can respect someone and be polite and care about them. However, you would also very much disagree with their opinion and maybe even think it's a terrible opinion, a wrong opinion. So this is the only reason I stress that, is to say we want to believe what's true, and we want to submit to what's true. That's part of the reason, the exercise, and then consider how we get there. So anyways, all right. Well, let's wrap up. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Okay.